So I've been reading recently this book called Wintering by Katherine May, and it's really made me reflect upon the year that I've had. And I think I would encourage everybody to kind of reflect upon the year that they've had. I know a lot of people have had challenging years this year, like I have had, and I know it's been the year of the snake, so a lot of things have been stripped away for people, and a lot of people have had like big changes. But wintering, the concept in this book is basically that throughout our lives we have these periods of wintering, which is where something unexpected, out of left field kind of happens. Like it could be a bereavement, it could be a job loss, it could be a relationship breakdown, things that kind of come out of nowhere. And it's talking about how there's cycles in your life. So we have these great moments, these beautiful milestones in life, our summers, but we also have these more challenging periods, our winters, and they're a normal part of life. And as someone who has just said some of the ways that you can winter and experience those in one year, I think I have some kind of like little insight that came to me today while I was reading this book that I would just like to share because I think it might be helpful. And one thing she talks about in here is that when we have periods of wintering, we kind of, the human in us, and particularly the English in us, we shy away from things that are uncomfortable. So we don't share our wintering experiences with people because we feel shame or embarrassment. And that we shouldn't do that. We should kind of talk about it. It's as normal as the exciting milestones in life. And I completely agree with her sentiment there. And the videos that I've been posting recently have kind of been about me processing a big cycle of wintering. I feel like I have had back-to-back cycles of wintering this year. And it ended in December with the kind of shock of not having my job anymore. And I kind of was trying to be honest in my videos about those feelings of feeling motivated some days and then feeling a bit down and a bit unsure, and having this positive faith that something exciting is around the corner. But that experience of being in that liminal space, she calls it a liminal space in this book as well, of kind of not knowing what the new chapter is, but the old chapter has ended. And it does feel a bit disconcerting. So I was trying to kind of show that does happen while remaining positive and proactive, which is how I choose to do things. But I had this really interesting switch this morning where I thought about perspective. And I realised that every little cycle of wintering that happened this year had to happen. And this is why I encourage you to reflect. So if you've had a challenging time or just one challenging experience recently, I would encourage you to maybe write down and journal or take some time to reflect or voice note or however you want to do it. Why did this challenge come up and what is it trying to teach me? Because I've realised that everything that's happened this year happened exactly how it needed to get me onto the next challenge, to get me to learn that lesson. So I've been quite obsessed for a long time with the idea of turning 30 and the fear of it. And I kind of let go of that this year, knowing that it's literally happening next month. Because I think it's an exciting new chapter. And I think this year was almost the universe's way of saying everything that's been unresolved, lessons that you have continued to not learn, you are being confronted with this year. So for example, the job, it was a situation that was taken out of my hands. It took a lot out of me, and I had experienced a lot of burnout this year. It's not something I would have walked away from. And one of my lessons is I don't walk away from things easily if I'm emotionally invested. And I've learned through therapy certain things about my behaviours. I've learned that I have this idea of having to prove my worth to people and wanting to be chosen, and kind of having that harsh veneer of I do everything on my own because no one's going to come and save me. And with therapy, I learnt those lessons. I learnt where they came from. And then this year was challenges to help me apply those lessons. So I had to learn radical self-love this year because I had a lot of challenges. I lost a lot of things. I lost a relationship, I lost my nana, and I lost a job. And the universe was asking me to help myself through it, through radical love, through being my own support system and learning how to be my support system in very challenging times, to not seek external support and not feel that neediness, that clinginess to find that external support, but to find it inside. And I worked really hard, and I kind of understand that entirely now. And I have learnt and been really proud of how resilient I have been, how I've managed to deal with things, how I've learnt lessons in therapy about myself and how I've applied them. And my main takeaways were my people pleasing, having absolutely no boundaries with anyone, and this need to kind of always prove myself, and this idea of wanting to be chosen and feeling that I have to exert a lot of effort and energy into people to get anything remotely reciprocal. And I've learned through this year that that is just fundamentally a myth that I have adopted from a very young age and I've never challenged. And now as an adult, through lived experience, I'm actually actively challenging it. And those lessons, like my safety net's being taken off me, the things that last year I was using as comfort, a secure job, a relationship, you know, my nana, things like that were big comforts to me. The universe had to let them go and had to let me remove that, then be removed from my life, however you want to say it, so that I could create a system of comfort within myself. And that had to happen. And then when I feel like I integrated that lesson, it had to be challenged. So I've experienced situations where people have tried to test boundaries, or where people have had hot and cold behaviour, or there's been things that have been questionable. I needed to learn self-respect and self-care so that when that happens, I can learn to stop repeating the cycle of trying to prove myself. So whether it's a friendship, a work colleague, a work environment, a romantic, a dating, whatever it is, if somebody is not being consistent with you, if they're not open to creating clarity, if they want to live in ambiguity, that's fine. But I've learned the lesson of, one, that's not my problem. Two, that tells me all the information I need. And so I'm learning that lesson now, where I feel in a really healthy place, where I just wouldn't engage in the same way that I have in the past 5 years. So basically, I've come to this realization that with my relationships with family, friends, the workplace I choose, and anybody romantic in the future, I can already identify now that the things that I need, which is consistency, which is action. I'm an action-orientated person. Words mean nothing to me. I don't have a lot of trust in words. I need your actions. I need things to be calm and consistent, and I need it to be reciprocal. I need our energies to match. So I've learned over this year that I just don't have to give as much. And I need to kind of just see how people give back to me. And I hope that this video might help you if you take some time to reflect on some of the challenges that you've had this year, and kind of think about, what lesson was it trying to teach you? Have you learnt the lesson yet? Or do you need to work on it? Because trust me, the universe will keep replaying these situations until you learn the lesson.